You're listening to Bedtime Stories with Meika Jay, a space to slow down, breathe deep, and fall asleep to stories that speak to your soul. Tonight's story is called Session 1. Dim the lights, get comfortable, and let's begin. Close your eyes. There's a certain kind of quiet that lives in therapy rooms. Not church quiet, not library quiet. This one has breathing in it, hesitant, fragile, almost afraid to echo. That's where we find her, Antoinette Green, but everyone calls her Toni. In her first session. All right, Toni, whenever you're ready. I don't really talk like this. I usually write things down, fold the paper, hide it somewhere. Talking feels louder. You can start anywhere. And that's how session 1 began. With rain on glass and a ticking clock and a woman trying to turn silence into sound, Toni began to share her story. Home was small, one story, white paint that peeled like old skin. My grandmother kept lemon cleaner under the sink. She used it for everything tables, floors, even the Bible cover. She said a clean house kept demons away. But I used to wonder, what were we scrubbing so hard to hide? Who lived there? Her, my dad, my sister, and me. And for a time, my dad's brother. Church every Sunday, Bible study on Tuesdays, and rules so tight you could barely breathe between them. When I was 8, I realized I was different. There was a there was a girl from school. Her name was Joy. She wore cherry lip gloss and had grass stains and a very wild laugh. We played house in my room one afternoon, and somehow we ended up in the closet. And in there, it felt like a secret world. She leaned in and we kissed. Not grown, not heavy, just real quiet. The kind of quiet that felt just right, naturally. My dad opened the door. He didn't yell. He just looked at me like I ruined something sacred. And he said, "Get out of there." And I did. And I stayed out for a long time, even from myself. You mentioned your father's brother once lived there. Yeah. Summer I turned 10. They said he just needed a place to stay. He slept in the spare room across the hall. He smelled like beer and cheap cologne. I still smell that vividly. He called me little lady in a voice that didn't match the words. One night, the door opened. He didn't knock. And when he left, everything felt tilted, like the walls learned how to lean. He took something from me that night, something that I myself didn't have permission to give. I locked my door after that, slid a chair tight under the knob, kept the hallway light on, because safe wasn't an option. Awareness was. The therapist didn't speak for a moment. She just let the rain fill the room where words couldn't reach. Then she said, "When did you start writing?" Around then, my aunt worked at this boutique and got me a pink notebook from there. I wrote poems about trees and rivers, things that never touched me back. Stories where girls always made it home. See, paper doesn't interrupt, it just listens. That notebook became her first therapist, bound in cardboard instead of leather. The therapist continued the session. "What about school? Was that a safe space for you?" Oh, middle school. That's when I met Marcus. He liked boys, I liked girls. We made a deal, a lavender relationship, before we even knew it was called that. We held hands in the hallway, took photos at the dance. It was safety by disguise. People stopped asking questions. Did it help? It helped them, but not me. Because pretending still feels like holding your breath for an applause that never comes. What about your teenage years? Oh, well, by age 15, the bills started stacking high like sermons. Grandma hummed gospel to cover the noise. I started staying out and sneaking out, hanging out on street corners, loud music, laughter that hurt in the morning. It wasn't rebellion, it was just proof that I existed. Because out there, nobody cared who I liked. They just wanted to know if I'll show up when it mattered. But sometimes I didn't. But I kept writing. Even with split knuckles, I wrote because every word said, I'm still here. That's resilience. No, that's stubbornness with good penmanship. Did you ever attempt to tell anyone about your experience with your uncle? Well, when I was 17, I tried to tell my grandmother about the uncle, her son. She was cleaning the kitchen, lemon oil shining the table, and I said, something happened. She didn't look up. She just said, we don't speak evil in this house. Then she rubbed harder, and by the time she finished, the table gleamed and the conversation was gone. Sometimes silences are louder than screams, and some shine too bright to look at. The therapist continued the session. When did you finally leave? I was 18. I got a job that paid cash. I saved what I could. I moved into a small place with a lock that worked. No chair under the knob. First night there, I couldn't sleep. Not from fear, but just from possibility. Like freedom doesn't sound like fireworks. Freedom sounds like breathing and realizing that it's your own breath. You said you found a VHS tape recently. Oh, yeah, I did. Me at 8 years old, running through tall grass, laughing like the world couldn't catch me. I didn't recognize her. Her eyes were lighter, like she hadn't learned caution yet. And it kind of made me jealous and a little bit angry, like someone stole her before I got to know her. If you could talk to that girl, what would you say? I'll say to her, I'll tell her it wasn't her fault, that she didn't deserve what happened, that she's not strange, she's just early, and that one day she'll love in daylight, and that the lock works now, even without the chair. What do you call what you've been carrying? I call it a I call it a shape because a shape changes size. Sometimes it's a coin that I can put in my pocket, and sometimes it's a couch that I can't move alone. What size is it now? It's small, like a ring. I can put it down if I wanted to. Do you? Do you put it down? Yeah, I do. What do you want to remember from today? That I said it out loud. That clean isn't the same as safe. That I kept myself alive with words when no one knew I was drowning. That the lock works now. Good work, Toni. Same time next week? Yeah. Session 2, right? Session 2. People think healing is loud, confessions, tears, applause. But sometimes it's just the sound of a key turning in a door that finally opens and the quiet that follows when you step through. Thank you for listening. I hope you're able to sleep well tonight. I'll see you in the dark. Good night.